Hello everyone. Jones Road has come out with a new product, which is a tinted moisturizer that is called Just Enough. And so I have been trying this out over the past several days, and I've actually really been liking this. And so I thought that I would do a video where I talk about this product and then also compare it to several other products on the market that I think are similar, and to let you know what I think the differences are. And then in addition, one of my favorite skincare products is the Outset, and they have just come out with a new line of lip glosses that are tinted. And so there are 3 different shades, and I have all 3 of these shades as well as the original clear shade. And so I will be talking about those in this video. And then also I noticed that Chantecaille is currently having an Earth Day sale where they have a number of their products that are on sale. And one of the products that they are offering is one that is fairly new and that I have picked up. And so I thought that I would also include that in this video. And so this is from their Butterfly collection, and it is their Nymph Eyeshadow Palette. And so I'll be applying this in this video as well. And then also in this video, I have a giveaway of some products that I have really liked and that I thought people might enjoy as a little sweepstakes. And so if you are interested in that, then I will be talking about that later on in this video. And so first, a little bit of information about me. I am 60 years old and I have dry and very sensitive skin. And I've never had any kind of cosmetic procedures like injections or surgery, and I don't intend to do that in the future. And I also don't use any kind of filters or anything like that on this channel. And so when I look at skincare and makeup products, I'm hoping to find some products that can help me to look a little bit fresher and maybe a little bit younger or healthier as I move into my 60s. And in addition, my goal is to really only spend maybe 5 or 10 minutes a day putting on makeup and to look fairly natural looking and not too made up. And so that is one of the reasons that I really like the Jones Road line in particular, because they do seem to also be dialing into that aesthetic. And one thing that I have found is that there are certain ingredients that always do irritate my skin. And I know that these are ingredients that many other people have problems with as well. And so I just don't talk about products that contain those ingredients on this channel. And so now let's talk a little bit about Jones Road. And so this is a company that was founded in 2020 by the famous makeup artist Bobbi Brown. And she sold her own company to Estee Lauder back in the 1990s. And then she worked for the company for almost 20 years. And then eventually she decided that she was going to leave. And as soon as her non-compete agreement, which was a 25-year agreement, ran out, then she started up this Jones Road company. And it seems to me that the company was really just founded as a way for Bobbi Brown to create cosmetics for herself and for her friends and for other people that are getting a bit older, like at least 40 or above. And so although they do promote the products as being appropriate for all different ages, and although I have heard some people that are younger that have said that they like these products, I think that the people that seem to be the most enthusiastic about them are people that do tend to be 40 or maybe even 50 and above. And I do see quite often on my own YouTube channel advertisements for Jones Road talking about how if you are over 50, you may be especially interested in some of these products, especially ones like the What the Foundation and also their Miracle Balm. And so I have tried all of the products that Jones Road offers, and I've spent a lot of time with them. And I do like an awfully lot of the products very, very much. There are a couple of products, though, that do have ingredients in them, such as essential oils or other kinds of natural fragrances that do tend to irritate my skin. And so that is really too bad, because otherwise I think that all of their products are really attractive to me. And so the most controversial product that Jones Road offers, I think, is a foundation that is called What the Foundation. And so this is a product that comes in a glass jar. And it is one that is quite thick and has a lot of moisturizing type ingredients in it. And it is kind of like balmy on the skin, and it's kind of cushiony. And personally, what I have found with this foundation is that when I wear it, I really feel like more than any other foundation that I have ever tried, this actually seems to make me look considerably younger, like maybe 5 years younger. especially in pictures, but also in real life. And I think that the reason for that is because as you get older, one of the issues that happens is that you tend to have some fat volume loss on your face. And so what I think that this foundation does really, really well is to provide kind of a plumping type of a look to the face, where it looks like you have a little bit more plumpness and a little bit more softness and prettiness on the face that I think can be very appealing. And so especially if I'm going to be taking pictures that I want to be, family photos that I'm going to last for a long time, I tend to always put this one on. But unfortunately, I think that this foundation also does have some drawbacks associated with it that has made it a product that many people have problems with, and that makes me not able to wear it as much as I would like. And so one of those issues is the fragrance that is in here, because it does have some essential oils in it. It has rose geranium oil and ginger root oil, and I have found that both of those tend to be somewhat irritating for my face. And so if I put this on over a primer, I feel like I can kind of get away with it as long as I don't do it too often. But in general, I do think that it is really not the ideal product for me, because it does cause a little bit of irritation. And then other things that people complain about with regard to this product, it is one of those foundations that is quite thick and quite sticky. And so especially if you have long hair, your hair might even get stuck to the foundation. I have found that if I use a good setting spray with it, or in some cases a good powder, that this can really help with this foundation and can make it much more wearable for me. And so last year, both Makeup by Mario and NARS, they both came out with setting sprays that I have liked quite a bit, and that don't have any fragrance or alcohol in them, and that have worked pretty well for me. And so I have liked that, and the Jones Road setting powder seems to work okay with this, and so that makes it a little bit more wearable, but still, in a lot of cases, people don't really like the texture of this. And then another thing that I have found is that this foundation tends to work a lot better for me in the winter than in the summer months, and that really in the summer months, if it's even above a 70 degrees or so, that it tends to not behave as well, and it tends to get a little bit more melty on my skin, and therefore that it tends to be more likely to become something that looks like it's very kind of greasy or oily, and that I end up just wiping off and having it all disappear. And so that is another limitation with this. And I've also heard from some people that live in more humid environments that it doesn't necessarily work all that well in humid environments either. And in the past, there were a lot of complaints about the product separating or needing to be mixed up. Now, I have heard from some people that have purchased the product fairly recently that are suggesting that this is not as much of an issue in the recent batches. I don't know if they've made any changes with it or not. And then another thing is that this does have so much moisturizing type elements in it that in a lot of cases people feel like they can't really use their own skincare with the product because it already has too much moisturizing benefits in it. And so that is not something that everyone seems to like. And in a lot of cases people want to use their own products, or they may not necessarily like the particular types of moisturizers that are in this product. And then also this is, this big glass jar, and so this is a little difficult to travel with, and in addition, it is something that you either need to use a little scoop to get the product out, or you need to make sure that your hands are super clean because you don't want it to get contaminated. And to some extent, I think people are really concerned that it's not going to be sanitary if they're using their fingers in it all the time. So that's another issue with it. And so for me in particular, I feel like I have a love-hate relationship with this foundation because I do really, really like the way that it looks. And I really would like to wear it on a regular basis. But on the other hand, there are a lot of difficulties that are associated with it. And actually, this is the one jar of this product that I have purchased, and I haven't purchased a new jar of it because I feel like since this has come out, there have been a few other products that have come out that have done sort of the same thing. I don't know if they do it quite as well as the Jones Road, but I think that they have been successful for me. And so one of those is this Makeup by Mario foundation, which I actually just have out right now because I've been using it. And the other product that I also have been liking has been the Patrick Ta foundation. And I think that both of those products do have the issue that you need to use some kind of a setting spray or a good oil-absorbing setting powder over them. But otherwise, I think that a lot of the issues that the Jones Road product has that are a little bit on the annoying, especially that fragrance issue, that both of these products have worked well for me and they don't have those other issues. I do still think the Jones Road is the most attractive product on the market in terms of how it looks on me, but it's a product that also is a little bit of a problem to use. And so therefore, when this new product came out, I was interested in finding out how easy that would be to use and how different it would be. And I would say that this is tremendously different and it's almost a polar opposite, and that this could not be easier to use, and that it goes on the skin really, really easily and it holds up really easily. There's no scent in it. So I think that they really took all of the complaints that they had about the Jones Road What the Foundation, and they made a foundation that addresses all of those complaints. So it comes in a plastic tube. It's really easy to travel with. And in general, I think that this is a very, very high-performing foundation that has worked really, really well for me. Now, does it look as good on my skin? Does it make me look 5 years younger? I don't think so. I think that it looks very nice. I think it's giving me a little bit of that plumping benefit. I don't think that it's as dramatic of a plumping benefit, but I also don't think it's exacerbating the look of my wrinkles. I think that compared to most of the foundations that are on the market, I think that it does work really, really well for my mature skin and for my face that has a lot less plumpness in it and youthfulness in it than it used to. And in general, I feel like this is a foundation that I can very easily use every single day and not have any problems with it. And I think that it's not just a foundation that is covering up whatever kinds of issues I might have on my face in terms of redness or little spots or things like that, but I think that it's also is helping me to look a little bit prettier, and it's giving a little bit of that plumpiness to it. I just don't think that it's quite as dramatic as the What the Foundation. So I think that this is a super, super big success, and I have been really impressed with it. And I also think that this new Just Enough product, that this is a product that would be appropriate for people regardless of what their age is. And that I don't think that even if you have skin that is normal or even a little bit more on the oily side maybe, that this is not necessarily a product that you would not want to wear. Whereas I think that the Just What the Foundation product, I really think that it's only really appropriate for people that are getting a bit older and who do feel like their face is a bit more gaunt than it used to be. And I do think it's probably the case that people that are younger than 40 or so probably are, for the most part, not going to be really appreciating what the foundation does for them, because if you haven't had that fat volume loss on your face and you're already looking fairly plump and younger looking, then that's not going to be really providing that much help, I think. And so if we look at the website, what it says about the comparison is that compared to What the Foundation, Just Enough offers lighter weight moisture, lighter coverage, and a lighter finish, yet is still effective at covering redness and evening out the complexion on all skin types. We recommend having both in your makeup bag and switching out based on your desired look, the season, or whatever your skin is craving that day. And so I think that that is a pretty good strategy, actually, because I do think that there is a good reason to be wearing the What the Foundation product for some people, and that even if that is a product that is frustrating to you for other reasons, or if it's not appropriate to be wearing in the summer or for whatever activities you are planning to do, I think that the What the Foundation is a very attractive foundation as long as you can wear it without it irritating your skin. And so some more things that they say about the Just Enough foundation is that it is a lightweight tinted moisturizer that conceals redness and evens out skin tone with light coverage. It improves hydration and protects skin's moisture barrier from water loss. It's the quickest way to feel put together without looking like you've done anything. It's your skin, but better. And the shade range is the same one as in the what the foundation. And so for this one, I decided to get Porcelain, and that is described as pale with neutral undertones, and that is the second lightest shade. And I think that in terms of matching my skin fairly well, I think that this is a pretty good match for my skin, actually. And they are suggesting that you can put this on with either your fingers or with a brush. And the way that I typically put on foundation, unless I feel like it's not working, is to just put it on with my fingers and to smooth it out as much as I can with my fingers, and then to use a stiff brush to kind of buff it into my skin and to make sure that there aren't any unevenness in terms of the coverage. And so that's what I did with this, and I think that that worked out really, really well for me, particularly with this foundation. And things that I always look for in a foundation, I look for whether or not it is exacerbating the look of my wrinkles, and I think that this has been quite good with regard to that. I don't think that that has been an issue with regard to this foundation, and I was able to use it under my eyes and to really not need very much coverage in addition to this foundation under my eyes. And so that is a little bit unusual. Usually if I'm using a foundation that is fairly light, then I feel like I definitely need to be using an under eye concealer. And with this one, I just put on a tiny little bit of the Jones Road color corrector along with this. But in general, I think that it has covered up really everything on my face pretty well, including some stray red spots and the dark circles under my eyes. And in general, I think that I did use quite a bit of it because I wanted to let you see what it looks like if you try to build it up. And I think I was able to build it up to something that I feel is more approaching like a light medium coverage. And I think that it worked really well for that. And I don't feel it when I did that it made my wrinkles look worse. So I'm really quite happy about that. I think that that is a big success in any foundation. And I also do feel like this is a fairly moisturizing product, and that I think it does feel really good on my skin. I haven't experienced any irritation at all with this product, and I have worn it quite a bit. And so I am really, really happy about that. And in addition, I think that this is a foundation that's held up really well for me. And so I have worn it all day on a number of occasions. And I think that compared to other foundations that I use that are pretty long lasting, I think that this one has held up quite nicely. And it is one that I think you do need to use a good makeup remover to take it off. But I do think that the standard makeup removers that I typically have used, like the pharmacy one or the one from Lisa Eldridge, things like that, this has worked out fine for me. And I think that probably any kind of an oil-based cleanser that you would use with a double cleanse, I think that would probably be fine also. And so in general, as people say, I have no notes about this one. I think that I don't have any complaints at all. I think that it has performed really, really well for me, and that I feel good about using it. It does have a little bit of a silicone in it, but I think that the silicone that's in it is a fairly easygoing one, and that is not something that would keep me from wearing this product. And so now let's compare this Just Enough foundation to a few of the other foundations that I have in my collection that I think are somewhat similar. So the first one is from Chantecaille, and this one is called Just Skin, and it is described as a tinted moisturizer, and it is $72, and it has an SPF of 15 in it, but I think that's a really low SPF, and I actually think that probably all foundations have some kind of an SPF in them because of the titanium dioxide, and that the reason that they don't put that down is either because they're just a little bit under SPF 15 or because they feel like it wouldn't make that much difference in terms of the sales, and they don't want to spend a lot of money to do all of that testing. So I would not necessarily assume that SPF 15 in this Chantecaille product is going to be different than the SPF whatever in the Jones Road product. I think it very well might be very similar. And so I don't really see that as being a reason to buy this Chantecaille product rather than the Jones Road product, but it is something to note. And so you can see in the video footage whether you think that the Jones Road product looks better or the Chantecaille product looks better. I do have the Chantecaille product in a slightly more yellowish and slightly deeper tone, and so that might make my skin look a little bit different in the footage. But in general, the Chantecaille product is one that was re-released last year, and they changed the formula of this one. And I have really, really liked this Chantecaille product, and I have used it quite a bit, and I have enjoyed using it. But I would say that if anything, the Jones Road product seems to be performing better for me than the Chantecaille one. The Chantecaille one is made in Japan, and it does have a lot of silicones in it, but in terms of the silicones that are in this, I haven't found them to be problematic for me. What I tend to find with some kinds of silicones is that they provide a really kind of airtight barrier on the face, and that they tend to stick really well to my skin and to be hard to get off, and that if I use them too often, I see a deterioration in skin quality, which I think has less to do with the silicones themselves and more to do with the fact that they're trapping all kinds of like gunk underneath them. But in the case of this Chantecaille product, I haven't found that to be an issue, and I haven't found that to be an issue at all with the Jones Road products so far. But in general, I really like this Chantecaille product, but I think that if anything, the Jones Road product seems to be performing a little bit better, and at least as well. And I think that it's certainly a better value in terms of the amount that the Jones Road product is costing. Now, it's interesting how similar these products feel to me. They are products that both seem to look quite similar on the skin. They're products that give a kind of a natural looking radiance, but without needing to have any powder on the top of them as far as I'm concerned, and that do look really, really pretty. And in the case of the Jones Road product, they are using hyaluronic acid and squalane as the main moisturizing or hydrating ingredients. And I'm not seeing that at all in the Chantecaille product. What they are using instead is duckweed, which is said that it's supposed to help skin to hold on to moisture and helps to plump and smooth. And then red algae and terra tree extract, which is super smoothing benefits, they say, and butterfly bush, which is an antioxidant product. So this tends to be more of a mixture of silicones and some botanical ingredients, and I think that that is very interesting. And I do think it's really, really interesting how similar these foundations feel on my skin, considering that almost all the ingredients are totally different. And the Chantecaille product, this one comes in 12 different shades. And I have a shade that is called Bliss, which is light with peach undertones. And I think that this is a shade that is considerably darker than the Jones Road one. And so you can see the comparison here. But I think that it's actually worked fairly well on my skin. I don't think that it has looked really off. It just looks a little bit deeper. And I think that the peach tone in that particular shade has been nice. I think this is a sheer enough product that I can wear it, and it doesn't look bad on me. But in general, I think that the shade that I got in the Jones Road line was a little bit better of a match. And I think that they have one that is called Alabaster, and that one might be a better match for me. And so again, I don't think there's anything wrong at all with this product, and I do really like it. It's unfortunately not available for 25% off on that Chantecaille sale, but in general, I think that it is a very, very nice product, and I see no reason why I would not continue to use it and why other people wouldn't necessarily be interested in it. But it is more expensive, and I think that maybe it's not quite as good, actually. And then in the next footage, I'm putting on either side of my face 2 different tinted moisturizers that I have really liked, and that I do think have gotten some good reviews from many other people that are have more mature skin and that are looking for a product that provides some light coverage as well as some moisturizing and skincare benefits. And so the first one is the Hourglass Veil Hydrating Skin Tint, and this is $49. It comes in 18 shades, and the shade that I have is shade 6, which is light with cool undertones. I think I bought that one because I was looking for something with cool undertones, because I have been told and I have observed that Hourglass tends to be on the warm side, and I think that that's the case, because even though this one supposedly does have cool undertones, I do think that it looks fairly warm on my skin. It certainly is not looking more pink than I would want. And so what they are saying about this product is that it is a lightweight skin tint that instantly boosts skin's moisture levels by 52% and provides all-day hydration for a dewy, healthy-looking glow. And they say that it melts instantly into the skin, providing comfortable all-day wear and a sheer veil of coverage to diffuse imperfections and even skin tone, while visibly plumping and smoothing the complexion. And that some of the ingredients that are in it include hyaluronic acid and squalane and meadow foam oil and a rambutan blend, and that it's supposed to instantly make skin look and feel more smooth while providing continuous nourishment throughout the day. And so like the Jones Road product, this one does have squalane and hyaluronic acid in it, and I do think that this is fairly similar, again, to the Jones Road product in terms of how it performs. I've been very impressed with this particular foundation. I think that this one performs a lot more like a high-quality, higher coverage foundation than a lot of the products on the market. And I do think that, like the Jones Road product, this one does stay in place on my skin really well, and that it does look nice throughout the day. And I haven't found that this has exacerbated my wrinkles. And when this came out 2 years ago or so, I was super, super impressed with it. And it is still one of my favorite Hourglass products, probably my favorite Hourglass product that is out there, because it does perform so well on my mature skin. And I also will say that this is the tube of the foundation that I purchased 2 years ago, and I do think that this has held up really well and that it is still perfectly usable for me, and so I've been really happy about that as well. And this is made in Italy, and so that is another difference. The Jones Road one is made in the U.S., and I am kind of proud of the fact that the U.S. has been able to make a foundation that is of this high quality, and especially if we have tariffs that are going to make products from other countries more expensive, then I am always happy to see products that say made in the U.S., because at least we may have some more options that are good that are not going to be quite as expensive. And then another product that I thought I would talk about is one that is from Danessa Myricks, and this one is called the Yummy Skin Serum Skin Tint, and it is $36. And this one is made in China, but my feeling about the Danessa Myricks products is that even though they are made in China, they seem to be performing fairly well as far as I'm concerned, so people are always a little bit concerned about things that are made in China, but I'm not necessarily thinking that every company in China is not trustworthy in terms of making clean products, but that there probably are some factories there that are okay. And it seems to me that the Danessa Myricks company seems to have found one of those factories as far as I can tell. And so this particular product has 20 shades, and I have shade 2, which is fair with neutral undertones, and so this is quite a light shade. I probably would think about looking a little bit harder to see if there is a better match, but I think it looks okay on my skin again once I put it on. And so this says that it is an award-winning tinted serum that wears like makeup and works like skincare, delivering clinically tested intensive hydration with just the right amount of dewy coverage. And in terms of the ingredients, it has vegan collagen peptides, ceramides, and squalane in it. Now on the downside, it does have propylene glycol in it, and that did make me kind of nervous, and I actually delayed using this product for quite a while. But then after I heard a lot of really good things about it from a variety of different people, I decided to give it a try, and I actually liked it a lot more than I thought. So I'm not sure that it is as good for my skin as either the Jones Road product or the Chantecaille product or the Hourglass product. I think that all of those are good enough for my skin that I could wear them really regularly, which is a really important thing for me because I don't want my skin to be irritated at all. I sort of have a zero tolerance policy with regard to that. And I do think that most foundations that are out there do cause some irritation to my skin, even if it's really light. I think that this Danessa Myricks product, I don't think that it is quite as good on that aspect. I think that my skin is okay with it, but I don't think that it's quite as positive with regard to how my skin does with it as some other products. And I kind of feel like I want to use a product like a primer of some kind under it in order to have it be a little bit better. And most of the time now I actually am using this Ilia base face milk underneath whatever kind of foundations I use. And I think that that has actually been really helpful for me in terms of providing a little bit of a barrier between my face and whatever foundation I'm putting on it. And that has made it a little bit easier for me to tolerate some foundations that I might not have been able to tolerate in the past. And so I think that that is definitely been the case, and that it's definitely been needed with the Jones Road What the Foundation, but I think it's also the case with things like this Danessa Myricks product. Now, I do think that this Danessa Myricks product is significantly different than all three of those other foundations in terms of the amount of dewiness that it has. So this one has quite a lot more dewiness to it. It actually looks kind of shiny and a little bit sticky when I put it on. And so I do feel like with this one, I really do need to put a powder on top of it. And so for that, I got out my Jones Road powder, which I do think works really well in terms of being like an oil-absorbing powder. And I just put a very, very small amount of this on top of the Danessa Myricks product. And I think that it brought it down and so that it looks pretty similar to the others when I've just put that little bit of setting powder on it. But that is a difference, and that is an extra step if you have to put powder down. So I do think that a lot of people really like this Danessa Myricks product, and I think it's been okay for me. I have not disliked it as much as I anticipated that I was going to before I bought it, but I have been much more likely to be using the Hourglass product or the Chantecaille product. And I think that going forward, I will continue to use the Jones Road product and the Chantecaille product and also the Hourglass product. And I don't see myself using this Danessa Myricks product that much now that I have tried it on again. But I will say that I don't think that any of these foundations that I've tried on have exacerbated the look of my wrinkles. I do think that they have all provided some nice moisture to my skin. I think that they are really easygoing foundations and that they do stay in place really well. And so in terms of being foundations that I think that people that are my age and that want something that's really easy and fast and that's going to look good on them, I think that these are all four pretty good options. Now, one other thing I want to say is to compare these to what I consider to be more like skin tints. And so I think that the thing about all four of these products is that they do have some moisturizing type ingredients in them, and that they are providing a look of a little bit of plumpness, not quite as much as that Jones Road What the Foundation one, but I think that all of these are providing a little bit of plumpness and a little bit of softness to my skin, in addition to providing some moisturizing benefits. Whereas I think that most of the skin tints that are out there, they tend to be highly silicone based, and they tend to really just be more of a product that is just offering some coverage, some light coverage, and that I would put on over my regular skincare. Whereas with these, I might put them on over skincare, but it seems to be a lot less necessary. And I kind of feel like when I put on a skin tint, most of the time I don't feel like it's really making me look that much better. And I think that it's not necessarily offering enough coverage to cover over things on my face that need some coverage, and that I still am needing to use a concealer with them. And in addition, I feel like they're not really contributing to the look of the texture on my skin so much. And I do kind of feel like all of these tinted moisturizers are really actually making me look better in terms of the texture of my skin and in terms of the moisture of my skin, and then also that they are offering a bit more coverage as well. And so that's a little bit of a surprise for me to really think about that a lot, because I think that in a lot of cases people tend to put all light coverage products in their mind, both skin tints and other kinds of products. And I think that these four are a little bit different in that they are offering a different kind of a look than a lot of the products that are on the market. And I think it's interesting that these are all released within the past 2 years. So I think that this is another category where there have been really, really strong strides forward on the part of the makeup formulators, and that we really are getting products that are sort of leaps and bounds beyond the kinds of products that people were needing to wear 3 or 4 years ago even. And so now I'm going to show you some footage of me putting on a full face of makeup with the Just Enough product at the center of that. And so as a primer, I actually took out this Jones Road Oil-Free Moisturizer, and I put some of this on my face. And I actually think this is quite a nice primer in that it works pretty well underneath makeup. It's a little bit more moisturizing than, for instance, that Ilia Base Face Milk. And so I think that if your face is really dry, like in the winter, I think that that could be a good thing to use, or if you don't use too much of it, or if you want a little bit more of that dewy type of a look. I think that when I put this on underneath this foundation today, it actually brought the product seeming to be performing a little bit more like the foundation, which is not necessarily a bad thing, although I did feel like I needed to put some powder down on the top of it. So in any case, I think that this oil-free moisturizer from Jones Road, I really like it, and I think that this may be one of the products that is the least best-selling on their website, at least according to what the website is telling me. And I think that's too bad. I think that probably most of the people that buy Jones Road stuff don't think that they need an oil-free moisturizer and that they have dry skin, and so it wouldn't be appropriate for them. But I think that for me, an oil-free moisturizer really does have a place, especially in terms of a product that I would use during the day. And this is one of the better ones that I have found. It's totally scent-free, and I think that it's really high quality, and it comes in this pump, which is really convenient. And in general, I've almost used up this whole bottle, and I very well might buy it again because I do really like it. And then I'm putting on the foundation, and so you can see what this looks like on both sides of my face. And then I'm putting on the Jones Road Brow Pencil, and this is a product that I think is maybe the product that I use the most frequently of every makeup product that I have. And so this is a brow pencil that has little fibers in it, and so it looks like when I put it on my brows that I actually have extra little hairs in my brows, and it goes on super fast, so I can spend 10 seconds per brow and have it look passably good. And then in addition to that, I am using the Jones Road Brow Gel, and this is another product that I've been really, really impressed with. And I think compared to other tinted brow gels that I have, this one actually does an even better job of taking all of the little peach fuzz type hairs in my brow area and making them look like they are real brow hairs. And so by the time I do both of these steps to my brows, I feel like I actually have some substantial brows going on, even though without any brow products on, my brows are certainly very scanty, and they are also very light in color. And then when I ordered the tinted moisturizer, I wanted to hit an $85 purchase to get free shipping because that is still Jones Road's policy. And so I did pick up a blush color. So I really only tried one other blush from Jones Road in the past, and so I thought I would pick up another shade. And so the shade that I picked up is called Sandy, and it is a pink, but it is kind of a muted type of a pink. And so I decided to try to compare that to their bronzer, and the bronzer is in the color Dusty Rose. And so you can see what the difference is in the pan. They're kind of the same sort of shade. I think that the Dusty Rose one is leaning a little bit more towards taupe, and the Sandy shade is leaning a little tiny bit more towards pink. But they seem very similar to me, and so I tried putting these on my cheeks just to give you a sense of what the differences are. And I think that across the board that the Jones Road products really have very nice formulas as long as they don't have fragrance in them or they're not causing irritation for me. I've had very good luck with really all of the Jones Road formulas in terms of how they perform, and these powder blushes have been very nice for me also. And so now let's talk about this Chantecaille Eyeshadow Palette. And so this was released, I think, a couple of months ago. I think it's been since the beginning of 2025. And so there are two different versions of it. One is called Diana, and Diana has a luminous taupe, a shimmering rose, and a pearlized cream shimmer, and that one looked quite muted, more muted even than I tend to like, and I tend to be really not looking for a really ostentatious look most of the time. And then the other one is called Nymph, and that is the one that I picked up. And this one is said to have a luminous sheer copper, a shimmering lilac, and a golden peach with golden speckles. And so this is an eyeshadow palette. It doesn't have any aluminum powder in it. It doesn't have any talc in it. It doesn't have any synthetic colors in it. And in general, I haven't found this to be irritating at all for my eyes, so I've been really, really happy about that. Now this one does include ferric ferrocyanide, and the Diana one does include a little bit of carmine. But in general, I think that this is a eyeshadow that very well might be less irritating than a lot of the other ones that are on the market. And this palette is priced at $80, but I think with the 25% off that would be a much more reasonable value. And then another eyeshadow that I thought that I would compare it to is the Luminescent Eye Shade. And so I have this one in the shade that is called Mustang. And it used to be called Roan when it came out with I think the Mustang line, but now they just called it Mustang. And this is kind of a cinnamon color of a brown, and I really, really like this particular product as a one-and-done eye shade also. And so I did swatch all four of these eyeshadow shades next to one another, and it certainly is the case that this Mustang shade is considerably darker than the three shades from the Nymph palette, and I think that the shades from the Diana palette would be even lighter. But in terms of the formula and in terms of how they are looking, I do think that they are fairly similar to one another in terms of the kind of look that you're going to get on your eyes, certainly. And so what I did in the video footage to start out with is to put the copper shade on one eye and the lilac shade on the other eye. And then I put a little bit of that golden peach with golden speckle on both of them, just so you can see whether or not there's a difference in terms of the looks that you could give. And then I went back and fixed them up, so I was using all three colors on both eyes. So in general, I think that these butterfly eyeshadow palettes, I think that these are very subtle in terms of the look that you are likely to get. And I think that the packaging is very pretty. This is metal, and then it does have a very pretty picture on it in terms of the applique. And so that part is nice. And in general, I think this is a look that is probably going to be most appropriate for people with lighter skin tones and that are looking for a really, really subtle eyeshadow look. And that is something that I do enjoy. It is a little bit on the pricey side, but I think that this is a very pretty product. And then to finish off my eye look, I started off by putting on some brown mascara. And so the mascara that I have out right now is the one from Say, and I actually do like that one quite a lot. And then in addition, I took a look at this after a while, and I felt like my eyes were still not giving enough definition because that eyeshadow is so muted. And so I did get out an eyeliner, and the one that I decided to use is this one from Bobbi Brown, and this is called the Perfectly Defined Gel Eyeliner. This has been out for quite a number of years, and I have this in a shade that is called Chocolate Truffle, and I think that this is really still a terrific eyeliner, and that I really, really like it, and that Jones Road also makes some eyeliners, but those tend to be slightly irritating for me, and I think that this one from Bobbi Brown performs quite a bit better, and I haven't found it to be irritating at all. So, and then in terms of the other items that are on sale right now, there are the lip tints that are in the Butterfly collection, and I don't have one of those, but I do have this one, which is from their last year's collection, which is called the Sunstone collection, and I've purchased these lip tints before, and I actually really like the lip tints. I think that these are really nice products to just kind of keep in my purse and to throw on anytime I am out and about and I want to just have a little bit of a refresh without needing to spend a lot of time putting it on or even necessarily having a mirror. I think that these have worked really, really well for me. And I have a very small purse that I carry a lot of the time, and this one is particularly nice to just stick in there. And then another product that is on sale is the Chantecaille lip veils. And these are supposed to be in favor of helping elephants, and that's why they have this elephant design on the packaging. And these are $54, so they are really, really expensive for a lipstick. I think that when they came out, maybe 8-10 years ago, something like that, that they were really revolutionary at the time. I think there's a lot of other lipsticks that are on the market now that are fairly similar to these, that perform really well and that are less expensive. But I think that these are very nice lipsticks, and that if you can get 25% off, that they start to get in to the point that they are more within what I consider to be reasonable. And so I have 2 of these so far myself, and one of these is called Honey Pot, which is described as an easy pink nude, and one is called Iris, which is described as a vibrant sheer raisin. And the Iris is what I'm wearing now. And another thing that I decided to do is to put on a little bit of the Jones Road Miracle Balm, because I felt like my cheeks were starting to get a little bit on the dry side after I put down all of that blush. And so this shade is called Pinky Bronze, and so it's kind of a combination of a brownish pink type color. And I do really like this color, and I feel like when I have used the What the Foundation, that really doesn't seem to be appropriate to put any Miracle Balm on top of it at all. I think that it doesn't really seem like a good idea to put more balmy type stuff over the What the Foundation, which is pretty balmy and moist to begin with. But I feel like with this Just Enough foundation that this actually works really, really well in combination with the Miracle Balm. And even though the Miracle Balm has a bunch of fragrance ingredients in it, including the rose geranium oil and the ginger root oil and then some other things in it, I feel like I've been able to wear it because I think that the Just Enough has been creating a nice barrier between it and my skin, and I also think it behaves really well with the Just Enough foundation, that sticks to the skin well enough, and it's the nice consistency. And so when I put the Miracle Balm on top of it, it actually seems to go together. And so that is a nice thing too. And I think a lot of people do really like to wear these Miracle Balms. And so the fact that they have a foundation that they can feel confident about wearing them with, I think that that's a really good thing. And so now let's talk about the new product that is from the Outset. And so the new product that came out somewhere before Christmas is the Lip Oasis, and this was a clear, untinted, and unflavored version of this. And the idea of this product was supposed to be that it is supposed to be just like thick and glossy, like a lip gloss that people might have worn back in the 1970s, but that it is also supposed to be really, really moisturizing. And I do feel like it has been the case that for me, I really hadn't found a product like that before this one came out, that I felt like I was either needing to choose between wearing something that was more like a lip balm or a lip oil, or in the products that I did use that seemed like they were more like lip glosses, they didn't tend to be very moisturizing at all. And I think that this product actually is succeeding at being both of those things. I do think it's much more moisturizing than most of the lip glosses that I've used in the past, and that it does give a really thick and shiny look. So if that is something that you are interested in or that you would like to achieve, then I think that this is a really good product for that. And then just about a week or so, I happened to be looking on the Outset website, and I realized that they have 3 new tinted versions of these, and so I picked these up right away, and I've been playing with these a little bit. And so there are 3 different colors of these, and the colors that they have, there's one that is called Dune, which is stated as being a sheer nude. There is one that is a Sun Kiss, which is stated as being a sheer orange red. And then there is one that is called Mirage, and this one is described as a sheer blackberry. And these are products that do have a scent to them and a flavor. And they are saying that this has a splash of juicy berry fragrance in them. So that makes me nervous all the time, but I did decide to pick up these products anyway, and I think it's been all right for me. I wasn't able to pry out from them information on exactly what kind of fragrance that is, but I suspect that it is some kind of a natural fragrance. So I am not saying that everyone would like this, but I think that I am really, really picky when it comes to fragrance, and that I really hate most things. And this one I think is perfectly wearable for me. I'm okay with it. And I think that the key with this is that you want to just put on a very small amount, at least to start, and just a tiny little squeeze, and then to kind of spread it over the lips with this particular applicator. And I actually kind of like the applicator. It is a solid plastic piece, and I think that it does pretty well in terms of allowing me to kind of spread it over the lips without needing to use my fingers, and that it stays pretty much within my lip lines and ends up with a pretty good look as long as I don't put too much of it on. When things are this glossy, I'm always reminded of what Carrie Fisher said about Princess Leia, and who would have thought that people in space wore so much lip gloss. And this definitely gives the look that you know that you're wearing lip gloss and that it is noticeable, but I don't think it's unattractive. I think it's kind of pretty, and it definitely feels good on my lips. And it's definitely a product that I feel like I can wear instead of a lip oil, and that my lips will turn out to be fine. So I think that's kind of an accomplishment. And apparently this is something that Scarlett Johansson was really, really interested in, and that she was really put a lot of work into getting this product formulated. And so I think the shades are nice. They are kind of muted on their own. If you put them on over a lipstick, like I did with that Chantecaille lipstick, then they're definitely going to be a lot more noticeable. And I think that they really bring out the colors of the lipsticks that I may be wearing. And so what they are saying about these lip glosses, first of all, they are saying that they include Maxi Lip, which is supposed to moisturize lips and make them firmer, smoother, better defined, and to stimulate collagen production. I suspect that what they're talking about here is the palmitoyl tripeptide 1 in combination with some of the other ingredients. But I do feel like my lips look nicer immediately, and that they have been looking pretty nice as well since I've been using this product more frequently. And then they also include some squalene and some polyglycerides, and then also lactic acid, which makes them slightly exfoliated, and hyaluronic complex. So in the Outset products, they are not using hyaluronic acid, which is made with genetically engineered bacteria, and instead they're putting in a alternative, which is a botanical alternative. And I feel like it probably does sort of do the same thing in terms of giving moisture and hydration to the skin. And so now let's talk about this little giveaway. And so what I have here is a travel set of 3 of the products that are from the Outset that are their basic products. And I do really, really like all 3 of these products. And I use these all the time. And so I thought that these are more like small little containers that are really good to try out the products to see if you like them. And so what we have here, there's their cleanser, which I think is a very nice summertime cleanser for me, and that can be really a cleanser that I think is used by anybody. And then there also is their moisturizer, which I think is really one of my favorite moisturizers, and I use this all the time. I'll show you my bottle. And this is a moisturizer that I use a lot for daytime use, and that I often will mix this with a thicker foundation and make it into my own tinted moisturizer. And I feel like that actually has worked for me better than most of the skin tints or the tinted moisturizers that are on the market. I don't know that it works as well as the Just Enough foundation or the other foundations that I mentioned, but I do think that this works quite well mixed with foundations as well as a daytime moisturizer under foundations. And then also in this set is their Firming Vegan Collagen Serum. And so this is sort of like a hyaluronic acid serum, although again, they're using that Hyalurocet product. And I think that that is a very nice hydrating serum as well. So what I have for this giveaway is a travel set, and so this is supposed to be enough of these products that will last someone for about 10 days. So I think that is a good enough period of time for people to get a good sense of whether or not these are good products for them. I think that most people are not going to find these to be irritating, and that they tend to be ones that people tend to overlook and not try out, and so I thought that this would be a good product to sort of give away to people. And then I also have this lip Oasis, so this is the untinted version, and so you can give that a try. And I also have this little bag that says the Outset on it that you can store your stuff in. And so I'm getting to the point now that I am getting a few products that I feel like I would like to be able to give to the people that watch my channel. And my goal here is really to give it to people that actually do like the channel and that would benefit from the products. And my fear is that with YouTube giveaways, that what tends to often happen is that people, especially people from other countries, will register for the giveaway, and then if they win, they will say, oh, you don't need to send it to me, just send me the money, and you don't have to pay for the postage. I don't really want to do that. I think that it defeats the purpose. And so what I think that we want to do with these giveaways is, first of all, to try to do them for people that have watched the video really early, so that those are more likely to be the people that really like the channel. And I think I'm going to just have the giveaway be for people in the US, and that I will pay for the postage, but I'm not going to get into this thing where people say, oh, just send me the value of the products. That's not a good thing. And so if you're interested in the giveaway, then that would be great, and you probably will have a good chance of winning, because I don't know how many people will have watched all the way to the end of this video before the deadline for the giveaway, and I'll put that deadline on the screen. And so if you're interested, then you can just click on the link that is in the description box, and then just give me your name and your country and your email address, and then I will get in touch with you, and if you are the winner. And I also put on the questionnaire an option of whether or not you want to be on my mailing list, or whether or not you would prefer not to be on that mailing list. So I don't know what I'm going to do with the mailing list in terms of whether or not I'm actually going to start sending out emails. I know that there are some people that send out emails like once a week and have it be like a little roundup of products that they have found out about, or things that they've been thinking about, and I might do that. And so I think that it would be nice to have people's emails if people would be interested in getting some kind of an email like that. But I don't want to keep people's emails if they would prefer that I not keep them. The other thing that I've been interested in doing is possibly setting up a Facebook group. So I know that people really, really like the Jones Road Facebook group, and that seems to have grown really fast, and that people seem to be viewing it almost like a support group, in showing pictures of themselves and talking about products that might be appropriate for people who have more mature skin. And so I'd be interested in doing that in terms of setting up a group for people that want to talk about other products besides Jones Road. So if you're interested in that, let me know about it. I've run a Facebook group before. I have a Facebook group on another topic that has like 16,000 people in it, and so I have some experience in that, but I don't know if people would be interested in that with regard to makeup and skincare or not. So thank you very much for watching all the way to the end of the video, and if you are willing, I'd be interested in hearing in the comments section what your favorite light foundations are, and to make sure that there are not any that people really like that I still would like to try. In addition, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, then I hope you will go ahead and do that, and if you like this video, then I hope you will hit like, because that helps the algorithm, supposedly. And Coco and I do love you very much, and so I hope that things are going well for you. Take care. Bye-bye. La